everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is a beautiful sunny day, but it is still the dead of winter in zone 3. So I thought I'd go over some of the seed varieties or plant varieties that I'm planning on planting in 2024 and highlighting some of my favorite varieties. Get your cup of tea ready and let's get into it. So I have all of my seeds organized in this photo organizer that I bought a few years ago. When I first bought it, I really liked it, but as I've been using it more and more, I've noticed that it doesn't really work for my needs. I find that because I open packages and then put them back in here opened, I lose a lot of seeds, not only in the individual packages, but there's also, I wonder if I can pull some of these up. There's just like a mishmash of seeds at the bottom of this container as well. So I end up wasting a lot, which I don't love. So I'm going to be looking for a new seed organization method this year. So if you have any suggestions, please leave them down in the comments below. But I'm going to be going through these in no particular order, but I thought I would start off with some tomatoes. Okay, so I have a few varieties that I have not grown before. I'm just going through these now. Okay, so these ones I have not grown. So these are 3 new to me varieties. I have Amish paste. My goal for this year is to grow tomatoes mostly for sauces and for canning. So I'm going to be growing a lot of Roma tomatoes and San Marzano tomatoes. That's going to be the bulk of my tomato growing this year. And then I'll have a few slicers for like bruschetta and just for eating. And then another variety that I have is the Sun Sugar. I couldn't find Sun Gold seeds at any of my local seed places. So I usually go through West Coast Seeds or T&T Seeds. Both are Canadian, so I don't pay as much per seed as I would if I went through an American seed company. And then Black Krim. This is a tomato variety that I've heard is a favorite of a lot of gardeners, so I'm going to be trying this one this year. For anyone that's never grown them, it says, the large fruits are dark red, almost brown on top, and very juicy inside. They have a sweet, smoky flavor and grow 7.5 to 10 centimeters in diameter. Black Krim is a classic heirloom with vigorous, indeterminate growth, and it's about 80 days to get your plants or to get your tomatoes. These are some of the varieties that I've grown before and I will be growing again. So I have the Sartre Relois, not sure if I'm saying that right, but this one's a very beautiful yellow and purple tomato. And for anyone that's curious, it says gorgeous globes that have luster and stunning color of stained glass masterpiece, bursting with sweet, fruity, and complex flavor with just the right acidity. Tropical sweet with high antioxidant content. Large beefsteak fruit, averages 10 to 24 ounces. And it's a winner of our 2020 taste test. This produced a lot of tomatoes last year, so I'm going to be growing this one again. It's just so beautiful. I can't not. Abe Lincoln, this is what I think of when you think of a tomato from the grocery store. They grow a lot of tomatoes. They're the perfect size, so I'll definitely be growing those ones again. Black Beauty, this one I grow because it's beautiful as well. So it's the world's darkest tomato. I actually don't know if they can say that anymore now that there's the new GMO tomato out on the market, but this would be the darkest non-GMO tomato. And it says that some are so dark that tomatoes turn solid blue-black on the skin. They are very beautiful. And then I do have just a bunch of tomato seeds that I have saved myself over the years. So I have Sweetie tomatoes, Roma tomatoes, Sakura tomatoes. These are all just, I guess the Roma doesn't really count, but these are just little grape or cherry tomatoes that I tend to grow in the garden. Then these are some other varieties. I have a lot of tomato seeds. I tend to grow them all, but this year, like I said, I'm really going to try to stick with the Roma and San Marzano. So I don't even think I'm going to be doing these bush beefsteak tomatoes. Probably leave those ones behind. but then I do tend to do a lot of San Marzano as well, so I'll plant these. This is how I save tomato seeds. So these are sun gold, so I will grow some of these. And then this is one of my favorite little cherry tomatoes is the Berries Crazy Cherry. I just have a bunch of seeds saved here too. They grow exactly like that, which is pretty cool. Just like these giant clusters of really sweet little yellow cherry tomatoes. They're really good. And those are, I think, all of the tomatoes of interest for this year. So should be a great year. Up next, we have peppers. Okay, so what do we have here? I think all of these I have grown before, but I didn't necessarily get any fruit from it. So I have TNT Seeds, California Golden Wonder. This is a yellow bell pepper looking pepper. So it's a sweet pepper. And I have tried these before. I think I actually have the package. I have the California Wonder, the red one. So I figured I would try the yellow one. I haven't had luck with this one ever. I've grown it for several years, but I have never produced fruit. I just don't think I planted them or started them early enough and then gave them enough time to actually produce peppers. So I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna grow all of my peppers in the greenhouse this year. And I'm hoping that that'll give them a long enough season that I'll actually get a good pepper haul because I really do enjoy growing peppers. I have these little piquino peppers, which I have tried growing before once again, but I didn't get any peppers off of the plant. At my last house, one of the things that I dealt with was quackgrass, and I found that when I planted peppers in the ground, the quackgrass tended to overshadow the peppers and they really struggled to compete with the grass. So this year, like I said, I'm growing everything in the greenhouse. So I'm really hoping that that isn't an issue. Plus we moved, so I'm hoping that we don't have any quackgrass issues to begin with. But I've heard that these are really great in salads. So it says these highly ornamental plants form a canopy of dangling fruits above stems, just 50 centimeters tall. They look great in containers and named for the little beak or pointed tip. Enjoy them raw, cooked, or pickled, and they take 100 days. My growing season, not counting my greenhouse, is about 120 days. So hopefully we get some of these. Interestingly, these California Wonder peppers say that they're about 67 or 65 to 75, and then this one says 75. So hopefully I get some of these peppers this year. Shishito peppers are my absolute favorite pepper to grow in the garden. These I get every year, and I actually grow them. I don't know if you can see my arrow garden, but I've grown them in the arrow garden as well, and I've gotten quite a few shishito peppers just off the arrow garden. These are great for snacking. You essentially put them in a pan, a really hot pan with oil, you blister them, and then you just eat them whole. I know that some people make dips for them, but I just take them out of the pan, add some coarse salt, and they are so incredibly good. These are one of my favorite peppers. I buy multiple packs of this a year. And yeah, this is gonna last me a while. I save the seeds too, so that's something that you can do with peppers as well. So I also have lemon spice jalapeno. These I have gotten one or two of in the past. And unfortunately, I only have one single seed. There's only one little seed at the bottom of this package here, but I will grow it and then hopefully get some peppers, save the seeds from those, and continue my little collection of pepper seeds. These are just really pretty. They taste great, and they're a decent size too. So a fun little jalapeno to grow. These Sugar Rush Peach peppers I grew because Jess from Roots and Refuge recommended these. I have grown them. Last year I started a bunch of peppers in my greenhouse and these were growing great, but they were just picked a little bit too early. And so I didn't actually get to eat them or try them when they were ripe. So for those that are interested in what these sound like, so it's an exciting new heirloom bred by hot pepper prodigy Chris Fowler of Wales. Long peach-colored fruits are packed with loads of super sweet tropical flavor, and the seeds bring a smoky, complex heat. So I have some seeds left over from this. I will definitely be growing these again. Poblano peppers, I will grow these this year. I've tried a few years in a row and no luck, but I'm hoping that this year, once again in the greenhouse, I'll have a little bit more luck. Padron peppers, these ones are similar to the shishitos. You blister them, eat them. They're really popular in like Spain as like a tapas appetizer. So these are small fruited peppers originated in Galicia, northwest Spain, and they're often sauteed in olive oil and served as tapas. Oh, I just said the exact same thing. And they're fine for pickling too. So these are great. I do prefer the shishitos over the padron peppers, but they are really good. Do I have any of these left? So these are Lesia peppers, and they are touted to be the sweetest peppers of all peppers. I have grown these, I have tried them. They, to me, are just okay. I will probably grow them just because I have seeds and I don't want them to go to waste, but they aren't my favorite pepper. They're quite beautiful though, but there's just something about them that I didn't love. Let's see what else we have. So I think the only other peppers that I'll be growing this year are Craig's Grande Jalapeno. We've gotten plenty of these. They're massive jalapenos, really productive. We'll be growing these again. These are great if you do like jalapeno poppers or anything like that. They're like the perfect stuffing little jalapeno. And then I got these from a seed exchange years ago. They say 2016 on them. So they're very old, but they have still produced. These are Carolina Reapers. Very spicy, but I'm going to be trying to make some hot sauce this year, so I'm going to give these a go. Like I said, I've gotten them before. I think there was 1 or 2 years ago where I got a ton of Carolina Reapers, but I just didn't have time to make any hot sauce with them, so they just ended up sitting on my windowsill and eventually just like dried out, and I didn't do anything with them except for save seeds. So this year, I'm going to be giving that a go. And I think that's it. I do have a lot of just like random pepper seeds in here that I've grown over the years, but these are the ones that I will be growing in 2024. Oh, I should say these ones as well. Like I said, a lot of my seeds come from seed exchanges, so I don't have photos of them, but these are habanadas, which are heatless habaneros. These ones I will be growing this year as well. Okay, so in this container I have lettuces. So I have Tom Thumb lettuce. This one says is the oldest American lettuce still in cultivation, dating back to 1830. It's also the smallest lettuce of all, only growing to the size of a tennis ball. Tom Thumb is superb for containers or even window boxes, and it takes 50 to 70 days. So I'll be growing these. I think I've had luck growing this one. I'm pretty sure I had some last year. So I'll be growing them again. To be honest, lettuce is one of those things that everyone tells me is super easy to grow, but I do not have luck growing lettuce. It's probably my weakest growing point. So I will give it a go and see how it goes. Are you saying hi? Okay, so next up, I think these are all the ones that have been falling out of the package. This is arugula. I have not had any luck with the arugula. I think that I tended to plant this too late, so it was too hot by the time it started sprouting. So this year I'll plant some early and hopefully get some. I also have spinach, which could also be what's at the bottom of this because it's completely empty. Same thing. I think this one is, I thought this one was, oh yeah, it does say to plant in mid-spring. So I think I've planted this one too late as well. And then I have some romaine lettuce, which I have had luck with. I have a couple packages of this. I just tend to sprinkle this all around and then hope for the best. I'm going to carefully close these and hope no more seeds go flying. So next up we have herbs. So I'm not a huge herb gal. My staples are normally cilantro, basil, dill. Those are like the three main herbs that I grow in the garden. But this year I am branching out a little bit. I'm growing lavender, which I don't have the seed package for, but it's a lavender that's perennial to zone 3. So I have a bunch of them started downstairs in my seed growing area. So I'm really excited for that. I'll be making that into like teas and also using it for soap. And because it's perennial, I'm hoping to have a big area eventually. But germinating those seeds is a little bit tricky. So I don't have as many downstairs as I would have liked. Maybe I'll start a new batch, but we'll see. But I do have some rosemary. I don't cook with rosemary very often, but I do use it in soaps. So I thought that this would be nice to have in as like a dried herb for soaps or to infuse some of the oils that I use in my soaps. And I heard it's really good for pollinators as well. This one is, I don't know if this is a perennial where I am. I'll have to look into that. But I think this might have been, I think I tried to get a perennial rosemary. So I'll have to double check, but rosemary will be grown. These are just some saved basil seeds that I got from a friend. And then something new to me this year as well is poppy seeds. So these are the poppy seeds that you would use in baking. So I'm really excited to try these because you do get so many poppy seeds. Like if you're just growing flowers, you get so many poppy seeds. So it'll be cool to grow them and then collect the seeds myself. I think that's it for herbs. This little Ziploc bag here is my dill seeds. And then I have some cilantro, I think, in here that I tried to grow in my arrow garden and didn't have very much luck. So many seeds going everywhere, hey? This is Gilly, if anyone is curious what his name is. And he is a very cuddly cat, as you can see. And he also loves to be the center of attention. So that's why he's up front and center here. Looks like he got offended about what I said, so he has now left. But we're moving on to beans next. So I have tried growing soybeans before. I think there's a couple seeds in here. I'll probably grow them again just to use up the seeds. I got a few beans. These are edamame, for those of you that don't know. And yeah, it was pretty good. It did get kind of overshadowed by the quackgrass in my garden, so maybe it would have been better, or maybe it'll be better this year. So I'm gonna give it a go. I think there's like 2 or 3 seeds left in here. So I'll try it out, finish this package, and then decide next year if it's worth growing more. But this year I was really wanting to focus on dried beans because we eat so many canned beans or drying beans in this house that I wanted to try growing some to dry and then save for the winter. So the first ones I have here are borlotti. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Borlotti beans, they're pole beans, and it says the long vines will grow 20 feet tall if provided support. This Italian heirloom produces masses of 15-centimeter pods by late summer, each filled with good, firm, cream-colored beans streaked with red. This vigorous climber is amazingly productive. And these beans are great for drying. So, like I said, I specifically looked for drying beans that produced a lot because I've heard that's one of the issues with beans in general is that you need a lot of bean plants to get a lot of dried beans. So hopefully this is the year. And then I also have these Scarlet Emperor beans. So these are runner beans, and it says rapid vigorous growth makes this classic runner bean an ideal choice for tall trellises and balconies. Its dazzling scarlet flowers attracts bees and hummingbirds. Pods up to 15 centimeters long. Undisturbed roots may overwinter and regrow the next year in mild winters. That's not going to be where I am, but it would be cool if that happened. These are also good for drying. I have heard that you do really need to cook these because they can upset your stomach if they're not really well cooked. So if you're growing these, make sure you cook them really well, but they'll also be used for dried beans. And for anyone that is interested, I do have an affiliate link for West Coast Seeds. No pressure, but I thought if you're interested in ordering seeds from them, you can use the link that I provide down below. And I think that's it for beans. So just these two beans. There are 100 seeds between these two packages, which I think is a good amount for two varieties I've never grown before. I don't want to go too overboard with something that I've never tried. So I'll give these a go. If I like them, I'll probably double or triple the amount of beans that I grow next year, just because we do go through so many beans in this house. All right, next up, I have melons. Oh. See, maybe it's not the fault of the container that seeds fall out. It's definitely my fault. I don't close these very well, but I've seen people use the baseball card in a binder, and then they put their seeds in the baseball card slot. I think that might be the way to go, because then your seed package won't open inside of there. So we'll see. But anyways, I digress. I always grow cantaloupe. So these are a variety. They're called Minnesota Midget. These ones I grow every year. They are great. There's nothing better than a melon that's been warmed in the sun, that's perfectly ripe. They're one of my favorite things to grow. So I'll be growing this cantaloupe. I've tried growing these for multiple years, have not had a single melon from it. This is the Leilano Sweet Glow. Hopefully I'm saying that right. So the description says it takes 85 days. It's perhaps the most perfect orange flushed watermelon we have tried. Bred by Mike Kiesel, watermelon expert of Leilano County, Michigan, triumphed at our annual tasting trials, a new favorite orange flesh variety that matures early and is excellent for northern growing. I have not had luck growing this, but I'm going to try again this year. I have lots of seeds left, so hopefully this is the year. And then I have the Haramaju. I have gotten these to grow. I have had the melons, but animals have gotten to these before I have ever gotten to try them. So once again, hopefully this is the year that I actually get to try this. I think I've been growing this for 3 years now, and the animals or the wasps get to them before I do. So I guess that's a good thing, and maybe tells you that they're really good melons. So hopefully I'll have some luck this year. So next I have cucamelons. I have grown these before, but I've never started them. I have bought starts from the my local garden center. And I usually just eat these off of the vine, like fresh from the garden. But I had a friend who bought some canned or pickled cucamelons and brought them to a dinner party that I went to. And they were so good. They really did explode in your mouth of the greatest pickly flavor. So I'm going to try growing these again and try making some pickles out of them. So then I have a few new to me varieties this year. I have the National Pickling Cucumber, which I think I've tried before when I first started gardening, but I've never started it from seed. I've usually purchased it as a start. And then I have the Muskmelon Hybrid. It doesn't give you much information on TNT Seeds packages, like what the properties of the melon are, but there was a reason why I bought these. So either that they're super sweet or they're early varieties. It says 80 days. So I'm trying this one this year as well. So those are my melons and I guess cucumbers. Then I have beets. There's only one beet that I tend to grow unsuccessfully, but I try to grow it every year, is the golden beet. So this golden beet dates back to before the 1820s. It's a beautiful yellow fleshed heirloom beet that won't bleed like red beets and has a more mellow flavor. So if you're one of those people that thinks that beets taste like dirt, try some yellow beets. They'll probably be more of your vibe than the red ones. I have had these, but I've never been able to grow them, or maybe I grew them once in my garden. But last year, I think I have a photo of it. I should add it here or here, of these tiny little beets that were they never bulbed out. I think I just planted them too late in the garden, so it was too warm. They didn't get big. They just look like tiny, skinny little carrots, to be honest. So hopefully this year I'll have some more success. And then up next I have brassicas. So trying a few new varieties this year. Let's see. Okay, so these are two new varieties to me. I have the Taiwan cabbage. So this one is a summer and fall cabbage, and it has a really nice flavor and has the best heat tolerance. So even though where I am in zone 3 in Manitoba gets really cold in the winter, like we can get minus 40 degrees Celsius in the winter, we can get up to plus 40 in the summer, and our spring tends to be really short. So timing cold season crops is really hard because it's like cold, snow on the ground, and then next week it's spring and it could be like 20 degrees Celsius, which tends to be too warm for a lot of cold season crops. So timing that can be quite difficult. So I wanted to try this Taiwan cabbage to see if I'd be able to get any cabbages in the garden. This is a Aspa broccolini. So it's a delicious baby broccoli, resembles a broccoli raw with asparagus stem. It has a sweet, delicate flavor with a subtle, peppery taste, milder and sweeter when cooked, but tender and crisp when eaten raw. So I wanted to do a broccolini this year because, like I was just saying, our spring season is so short that it's really hard to time brassicas. Plus, we have the added pest pressures of lots of flea beetles. So many flea beetles in the spring in Manitoba, especially at my last house. Not sure what it's going to be like here, but as soon as brassicas were put outside, they were absolutely covered with flea beetles. So I have to grow these under a hoop. But anyways, because of timing, my broccoli tend not to get as big as I would like. So I'm going to try broccolini this year. These early green broccoli, once again, I got the early variety because of the timing. This, I have gotten broccoli heads before. I think it was last year or 2 years ago. I had like the best brassica bed I've ever grown, and I definitely got some broccoli, which was awesome. And I also got a lot of Brussels sprouts, which I had never grown before either, which is really nice. I've tried this cauliflower a few times. I've gotten ahead of cauliflower once in the last like 7 years. So I've pretty much stopped growing these, but I'll probably grow them again just because why not? Dinosaur kale. I don't really love kale, but I think this is such a beautiful plant, so I tend to plant it in the garden anyways. And then bok choy. This little baby bok choy, you can see how big they are one of my favorite brassicas to grow in the garden. Every single seed that I planted gave me a bok choy. They're very prolific. They do really well as long as the flea beetles and cabbage, moth, butterfly, larva, caterpillars, whatever they're called, don't get to them first. But these are so, so excellent. One of my favorite brassicas to grow. So up next I have squash. Squash are one of my favorite things to grow in the garden, so I have a lot of varieties. So I'm just going to try to get them a little organized of things that I do like and things that I don't like. Okay, So these are all varieties that I've grown in the past and will grow again because they did either really well or they tasted really good. So the first one is Galeux des Cygnes. It's this really beautiful warty pumpkin. It is so good in pies. I actually still have one downstairs. So I think I got maybe 4 or 5 of these, made them into pies in the fall, and then they store really well. So I have one, it's now February. I probably picked it in September, so it's fine, it's stored well. So I'll definitely be growing these. These are gonna be a staple in our garden every year. So just if you're interested, it says beautiful French heirloom, oblate, 10 to 15 pound fruit, salmon peach colored, heavily warded, ideal for soups and baking. It is the wartiest but very tasty, beautiful pumpkin. So I will always be growing these. These are seeds that I was given at a seed exchange. These are our Burgess squash, really prolific, really tasty little squash. Zucchini, I have a green variety and a yellow variety. These are staples in my garden every year. I drown in zucchini because I want so many of them, especially now in the wintertime. It's like I miss summer zucchini, and then I plant like 8 plants and end up drowning in them in the summertime. But you know, there's worse things. So definitely growing zucchini every year. I really like growing butternut squash. They can store for a really long time. They're great in soups. These are definitely an every year grow. Iran squash, I got these from a friend a couple years ago, and these are one of the largest pumpkin or squash that I've ever grown. The leaves, like the cotyledons, the first leaves that grow the pumpkins, you know, normally they're pretty large, but these ones were massive. And that basically gave me an idea of how big this plant would get. These were planted in probably a 25-foot long bed and probably took up almost the full 25 feet with their vines. They were so big. Their leaves are massive. The squash themselves, I don't think I got to try because what happened that year? I think a deer got to them. I think that's what happened. I think I only got a couple fruit and animals got to them before I was able to pick them. But this one is just lovely to grow because it's just so lush. Like it makes your garden look so lush because everything's so big. So I'll grow these again. I have the space for them, but if you're gonna grow these, definitely make sure you have the space. And then this is a new to me variety. This is Table Queen acorn squash. It just looked really beautiful. It says that this wonderful old heirloom first appeared in 1913. Dark green skins cover fruits that average 15 centimeters in diameter. Table Queen has excellent storage ability, which I really love for squash. And its long vines are prolific and exceptionally early, so 85 days. So this one is one that hopefully we'll get a lot of squash from. Some things I just grow for fun, giant pumpkins. Never gotten a giant pumpkin, but I try. So we'll see if I get one this year. These two, the Mongogo and the Strawberry Crown, are 2 varieties that I started seeds for last year but didn't get any fruit. So I'll try them again. The Strawberry Crown squash just looks really beautiful. So I just love like that grayish blue skin and the bright orange flesh. I think that's really pretty. So I'll give it a go as well. And then this one says it's great as baked squash or squash soup. And then this one, if you're curious, is a legendary Guatemalan heirloom that is much like a zucchini, but only better. The flavorful round fruit is sweet, succulent, and nutty tasting. This ancient squash bears loads of fruit on long vines, perfect for trellising, and the mature hard fruit is great for baking and pies. And pies too. I wouldn't think of a zucchini-like vegetable for pies, but those are 2 other varieties that I'll give a go. And then these are 2 varieties that I will not be growing this year just because I didn't really like them. This is the lemon squash. So they're like this big, they're yellow, they look like little lemons. And they have like a zucchini-like taste to them. They are very prolific. We were picking these out of the garden like tons. We couldn't keep up with the number of lemon squash, but I just didn't love the overall flavor of them. And I found that a lot of them didn't get properly pollinated, and they would actually go bad quite quickly on my counter. So I could bring in a zucchini and a lemon squash on the same day, and this would go bad like after a couple days, whereas the zucchini would stay on my counter for like a week and a half, 2 weeks before starting to go bad. So they don't have really good storing properties. So these I won't be growing. I'll probably give these away in a seed exchange. And then this Delbert Englisher custard is a patty pan style squash. So it says a unique variety from Gadersleben, Germany. Hopefully I'm saying that right. And it's a clear lemon yellow patty pan with a bizarre twist. Fruit is oddly flattened, flavorful, and prolific. I don't remember how prolific this was, but I also just didn't really love this squash. I didn't love it, so I'm not going to grow it in the garden this year. I'm not going to go over my flowers, which are the next 2 containers here, just because I feel like I could do a whole video on just flowers alone. I have 2 containers full. So I'm going to keep my flowers separate for now. I have a box of miscellaneous seeds. So these are seeds that don't necessarily go into one container. So first, I have 3 different types of onions. I started most of these last week or a couple weeks ago, so these are all started downstairs already. I have the Patterson onion, which is a fantastic long day storage onion. I tried to buy storage onions because my goal is to grow enough to last me at least until December. So I try to go for storage onions. So then I have the Calibra, which is also a mild sweet Spanish storage onion. And then I have Rosa di Verno Rubino, which is a red onion. So these are the 3 onion varieties that I'm growing this year. There. And then artichokes, which I think I have 2 packages of these, perhaps. Yeah. So I have artichokes. I have the Imperial Star artichoke because these ones are only 80 to 95 days. There's the Green Globe. I think that's the other variety that's pretty popular. That one's like 100 days or 115 days, which tends to be too long for my growing season. It gets a little bit too cold. So these are hardy large plants that produce 7 to 8 highly uniform, nearly spineless buds in the first season. The buds are sweet and tender and a great choice for home gardeners or open field production. Last year I was able to grow artichokes. It was my first year growing them. I grew them in pots, but I kept them in my greenhouse, and I think my greenhouse got too hot for them because they got really big and leafy, but they never produced a flower bud. Or actually, I should say one of them did start to produce a flower bud, but as it started to produce it, it was getting cold out. So I just don't think they had long enough maybe. So I should be starting these ones quite soon. It says to start 10 to 8 weeks before last frost. So that will be in the next couple weeks for me. I'm really excited to try these, and I'm hoping I'm going to plant these outside in the actual garden, not in pots and not in the greenhouse, and hope they do a little bit better. But yeah, here's the Green Globe. I tried these from T&T Seeds a few years ago, and it's 115 days. My growing season's 120, and that is being generous. So yeah, these ones are just not, my season's not long enough for those ones. Then I have corn. So I have super sweet corn, Northern Extra Hybrid. These ones are a 62-day corn, and yeah, they're supposed to be really sweet, really early. So I'm hoping that this year, I usually have okay luck with corn. I don't want to say I'm a great corn grower, but this is the first time I'm trying this variety. So we'll see how it goes. Some other things that I have here. This was just a free seed or a free package from Baker Creek. I haven't really grown them, so that's just in there. But these asparagus, the Carnivorous Colossal, I started a bunch of these last year and they did really great. So I'll be starting the rest of these seeds. I'm hoping to have one 8x4 bed in the new garden that's just asparagus. So I'll be starting these, and then I'm getting a couple crowns from TNT Seeds as well. Then I have this Jing Orange Okra. So it's an Asian variety that bears lovely tender pods that are deep reddish orange, very colorful, produces lots of flavorful 6-inch pods. So I will be trying these. I have tried these, I think, maybe once, and I didn't get any okra. Yeah, I'm trying to remember if I think the plant grew, but I didn't get any pods. So hopefully this year. All right, next I have carrots. So I got this rainbow blend from West Coast Seeds. So as you can see there's a variety of colors. There's like a reddish one, orange, purple, and then white carrots. And yeah, it's 75 to 110 days, which is fine because carrots like cold. So I'll plant these out early, and then they can stay in the garden later and get a little bit of cold. If you don't know, leaving your carrots in the ground after the last frost actually helps to make them sweeter. So it's actually good for them to get a little bit of cold treatment. And then I don't know if there's any seeds in here. Yeah, there's just a couple. But these are the Black Nebula carrots from Baker Creek. I think they said that they're the darkest carrot available. So they're really high in anthocyanins, which is what gives them that beautiful purple color. I did like these. They tasted really good, but they really do turn everything purple. So if you're making a soup with these, they're going to turn them purple. If you're making chili, your chili is going to be purple. So just keep that in mind. If you are a very visual person when it comes to how you eat, and you don't like your food that's normally one color, a different color, then maybe these aren't for you. But they are really beautiful and they're really tasty as well. So keep that in mind. And then I have gourds. Just have a few varieties. Loofah is the bane of my existence. I have been wanting to grow loofah squash for like 5 years. I think last year was the closest I've gotten. I had this really beautiful long loofah vine in my greenhouse, but it never flowered. And I think one of the issues is there was some type of pest on the loofah squash or the vine that would eat the flowers before they grew. So like no buds, no flowers. It was just like this long vine of a squash gourd. So hopefully I have some more luck this year because I would really love to grow loofahs. I'm always very jealous of gardeners that are able to go outside and crack open their loofah and get the beautiful sponge, especially for someone that likes to make soaps. Like having your own homegrown loofah to go with your soaps would be really cool. So fingers crossed. Then I have the Kukuzi gourd. I am humming and hawing about whether I want to grow this. This is very beautiful on like an arched trellis. It grows massive, like massive fruits. But if you let them get really big, they don't taste as good. So I don't know. I like to grow them because they just look really cool in the garden, but I don't love eating them, or I don't like eating them when they get big. So I think I'd have to cut them quite small. And then at that point, I might as well be growing a zucchini. But they are really cool. So I still have time to decide. This one I usually plant like 3 or 4 weeks before my last frost date. So I have until like May to decide if I want to grow this one. We'll see. And then I have birdhouse gourds. These are one of my favorite gourds to grow. I have a cool photo, I'll add it here, of all of the birdhouse gourds that I had growing on my trellis a couple years ago. They're just beautiful. The gourds themselves are just so cool. And I have actually made a birdhouse out of one, and they're really prolific. So each trellis I had probably had maybe 5 or 6 usable birdhouse gourds on them that you can make into pots. I've seen them made into lamps, like lamp bases, which is pretty cool. So these I will definitely be growing again. And then last but not least, I just have, I guess I should put my onions in this one. But I have never grown these, or this package is open, so maybe these I bought last year, but I don't think I got any leeks. But I have leeks and shallots. Like I said, I think I started leeks last year, but I don't remember planting them out. So maybe I just had really bad germination rates or something else happened to them. But yeah, this variety is called Varna. This variety is called Zabroon. I'll give these a go this year and see how it goes. So I'm going to finish going through all of these containers and adding the dates that I need to start all of the seeds in my lovely Excel file here. But I would love to hear about the seeds that you're going to be starting this year. So if you're really excited about something, trying something new, add it in the comments down below. I would love to hear them. And I hope you have a great week in the garden. I will see you next time.